Hey everyone, got a mystery box here, and I wanted to do an unboxing here on the channel. This is a product that I think a lot of people would actually be very interested in here on the channel. But before I actually unbox it, you guys put your guesses in the chat as to what might actually be in this box. So I'll give you a couple clues. It's something that I ordered just a few days ago. It hasn't been available for very long. It's something that I will probably use a lot. What else can I say? It's not Blackmagic design, I'll tell you that. I know everybody thinks that I just use Blackmagic design products, but that's not actually true. I use whatever products are best for what I'm trying to accomplish. But so yeah, get your guesses in. So based on a box this size, what do you think it could possibly be? Looks like we got a handful of people watching, so I'll wait just a little bit for a few people to guess. So I've got to guess A10 Mini Pro. Now there's an A10 Mini right here. Can that fit in there? Yeah, I guess it could. I'm knocking stuff off my desk here. Anybody else want to place a guess as to what might be in this box? It's video related. That probably goes without saying on this channel. Well, I guess not. It could be audio, or it could be some other fun technology. A batarang. Hey, there you go. An LTC timecode generator. Yeah, lots of good guesses. So, all right. New Teradek product. Who knows? So, okay, we'll do it. We'll just do it here. What could it possibly be? Got some packaging in there. VMix, Decimator 4K, bird dog, pink elephant, plushie. Anybody see it yet? Decimator product. Yeah, a couple people already guessed it. Yeah, it's the new 12G cross Decimator converter. Been wanting one of these since it was announced at NAB last year. And I'm gonna go ahead and hook it up because I can. I won't be able to put any video through it, but I can at least power it on. I'll do a full review of this at some point. But I've really loved my MDHX and MD Cross converters that I've had, and when they announced the 4K version, I was like, I gotta have that. That's awesome. So, oh, looks like I don't need an adapter. So yeah, it's noticeably bigger than the MDHX. It's MDHX is about that tall. This is a little bit bigger. Weight-wise, not too different. You know, all Decimator's products are built pretty well. All metal casing. So grab some power here. Yeah, it looks like we did have two people guess it correctly. So somebody clued me in on my live stream the other day that these were actually shipping. So like the last time I had checked, which wasn't that long ago, they were still back ordered everywhere. But like I said, somebody mentioned on the live stream that they were available, so I ordered one. So there it is. So yeah, the user interface looks identical to the MDHX. The color menu though, I didn't. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, it has color conversion, which the HX didn't have. So yeah, you can convert between different color formats. So yeah, 709, 2020. That's cool. So I assume the control stuff is all the same. SDI outsource, HDMI outsource, HDMI out type, scalar source, scalar reference, use genlock. Oh, that's one thing that's different. This actually has a genlock input. So they added that to this product. The other ones don't. No signal color, yeah. 3G output is B. I need to change that right away. Yes. Output is loop, yeah. That's fine. SDI outsource, HDMI outsource. Yeah, all that's the same. Scaling, of course, adds the 4 gig or 4K resolutions. Aspect ratio. Yeah. So overall, very, very, very similar to the MDHX, which is perfect because that product is really perfect the way that it is. It doesn't really need much by the way of enhancements. We just needed the 4K version of it, and here it is, the 12G Cross from Decimator Design. So, get a prize. I wish I had a prize. If I had merch, I would actually consider that. We are considering doing some merch for the channel. Whit and I talked about that a little bit. We wouldn't do necessarily. We probably would do Stream Team merchandise. I don't know if I would do anything for DJP. I don't know that DJP is exciting enough of a brand for people to buy, but Stream Team might be kind of fun. So we talked about it. We may look into it. But would you guys buy merch if I actually had some? So yeah. So if you guys are going to order this, I'll pop a link in the description so you guys can actually buy it using one of my affiliate links. And so again, help to cover the expenses of having Whit on the channel. So anybody else have one of these yet? I guess it hasn't been shipping very long. But so nice. It gets warmer in the MDHX. Well, I guess we'll find out. I obviously haven't had mine long enough to know. I have an event on Friday this week that I could actually try this out. I won't be using it for 4K, but I can actually just put it through its paces, make sure that it really does work and it's reliable. So I'll do that. But I just kind of go over what's on here since I'm sure some of you aren't familiar with it. So on the left side, we've got an HDMI input and an HDMI output. Those are both HDMI 2.0, so they can handle 4K. And then USB for configuration and for firmware updates. And then a power jack, which accepts anywhere from 5 volts to 32 volts. And then on the opposite side, an SDI input. For SDI outputs, these first two outputs can actually be a loop through on the SDI input. And the other two are fully assignable, and then a gen lock. And that's kind of it. There's places to mount a bracket on the back if you were going to like mount it on a wall or something like that. It does come with a metal bracket in the box. I should probably actually show what's in the box. So there's that bracket. And then a manual and the power, which with some international adapters for different regions of the world. So, but yeah, if you've never used one of these things, these are awesome. Very, very highly recommended. I prefer these over the Blackmagic up-down cross, mostly because it's got the button interface. You don't have to use dip switches to configure it, and the screen so you can really see what's going on. Because this will let you know like the status of your signals, whether you have a signal on any given input and what the format is. So if you're ever wondering, just take a glance at the screen and see exactly what signal you're getting, and it shows you. You can see how your different signals are being routed. These have the flexibility of sending any input to any of the other outputs. So if you wanted to do an HDMI loop through, so HDMI input goes to HDMI output, you can do that. You can have the scaler be in line, so 4K input, 1080 output, whatever you want. And then same thing on the SDI. So you can have the SDI outputs either coming from the SDI input or the HDMI input. You can do conversion on the signal if you want. And it does. Conversions are basically every type of video format under the sun. So just a great utility product to have. I always keep one of these in my utility bag. And I end up using it one way or another on most of the gigs that I do. So anyway, yeah, if you don't have some Decimator converters in your arsenal, it'd be a great product to add. If you're not working 4K, you don't need to get the 12 gig. You can just get the MDHX, which is considerably less. That one sells for $295. This one sells for $495. But again, just do everything Swiss Army knife type of product that really everybody in video production ought to have at least a handful of them, a couple of them. So I think this makes my 5th Yeah, I have 5 of these. Five decimator converters. So got a few questions here. What kind of delay does the decimator products bring? So decimator product, the conversion, the scaling is very, very, very low latency. I think it's at most a frame. So I haven't done comprehensive testing on it, but that's every time I've used it, like the delay for conversion for scaling is like next to nothing. And then for just format convert, like connector, HDMI to SDI or whatever, that type of conversion, it's very, very minimal delay on that too. So you probably wouldn't notice any additional delay putting this in your signal chain. So does it handle HDR? Yes, it does. It does support BT 2020 in the color space, which it actually does HDR. So it does have that, and it does do conversion between different color spaces apparently, which I didn't know. So I saw that in the menu as I was looking through it. 4K to HD scaling, any delay as far as I know? I don't know yet. I anticipate probably not, but again, I literally just now unboxed it, so I haven't had a chance to actually to use it yet, just yet. So, so yeah. So hello to everybody around the world that's watching. So, yeah. So this is a great product. You guys have any other questions? I just want to keep this video short, so I'll answer a handful of questions. But yeah, I don't want the whole stream to go more than half-hour tops. So we're at basically 12 minutes right now, so we got a little bit of time. But if you guys have some questions, I'd be happy to answer the ones that I can. So leave your questions down in the chat. So let you guys know a little bit more about what's coming up. So tomorrow another Stream Team episode is going to drop. And then, so we've shot 2 so far that haven't aired yet. So yeah, I got one that's going to go live tomorrow, which is the second half of the last one we did on using a video switcher. And that one's going to cover things like doing graphics basically. So upstream and downstream keys. So that's, and then the episode that's going to drop next Tuesday, we've already shot as well. And that one we actually go do a live stream for real. We'll actually go and hook up a camera, switcher, and go and do a YouTube stream. So that's coming up. So, okay, a couple questions. So, two-way conversion, yes. So these Decimator products do two-way conversion. So you can do HDMI to SDI at the same time you're doing SDI to HDMI. And they can be totally different signals, totally different formats. The one limitation is it only has one scaler built into it. So if you need to change the resolution of one of those signals, you can do it with one signal, but not with both. If you needed to do two different conversions, then you need 2 of these boxes. So Hugo asking, why do I prefer Decimator instead of the BMD cross? Well, a couple reasons. Primary one being that the user interface uses these buttons and the LCD screen instead of going through dip switches. But also just the flexibility in the way the signals are routed. The Blackmagic one, you can only do one conversion at a time, basically. So HDMI to SDI. You can loop through one of your inputs to your outputs, but you can't do like SDI to HDMI and HDMI to SDI at the same time, whereas this one will. So I've actually used that quite a bit. Like the classic way I use this is hooked up to a laptop and projector in a venue. So with one device, I get the signal out of the laptop, convert it to SDI to send to my switcher, and then I have the signal coming from the switcher. I either have the signal coming back from the switcher on SDI to send out to the projector, or I can use the basically loop out feature to take the HDMI input and loop it right back at that HDMI output to the projector. So I'm able to connect both the projector and the laptop with one single device. And if I need to do conversions, I can do that. So, but I actually think this is much more rugged too. It's definitely a lot beefier than the Blackmagic ones. I don't have any real complaints with the Blackmagic, the quality of the Blackmagic converter build, but this thing is rock solid. It's real tough, and I've never had any problems with them. So I've used them for more events than I can count, and they've never given me a lick of trouble. So So Ryan's saying he hasn't tested, but the BM Blackmagic cross converters have more latency. It's possible. I haven't done the testing on that either, but I have never had much complaints with conversion on either one of them. The only Blackmagic product that I've actually had any latency issues on conversion is my Terranex Express, which has a couple of frames, at least a handful of frames, like 3 or 4 frames latency on the conversion. So I don't use it for live, at least not for one of my video sources. I'll use it on output if I need to convert for another stream, for an outside stream or something like that. But yeah, it's not. Like, again, that's just that one product. So all the other ones that don't do quite as high a quality of conversion, they're able to get away with much lower latency. The Terra Nexus take a long time to do the conversion because they're doing a lot more than just scaling. They do a lot of analysis with the sub-pixel information and movement in the frame and all sorts of crazy things. So those take a little longer. But these things, they're just doing a simple scale, so they're able to operate with minimal amount of latency. So yeah, all converters do have some sort of latency, but for a lot of them these days, that latency is a frame or less. So it's far less of an issue now than it has been in the past. So in the last live stream, you mentioned that the Blackmagic ones have a failure when running hot. Is that a problem with these kinds of boxes you can count on? So in most situations, that's not an issue. The reason there was a problem on that live stream, because it was close to 100 degrees here in the trailer, and those converters that were kind of wigging out are not in an area where they're getting any airflow. And so they were probably running well over 120, 130, 140 degrees. So as long as they have airflow, they work fine. But like some of those converters that I have, they're tucked away. Like the one for this monitor is tucked away in the wall and has no airflow. I'm working on fixing that, but yeah, no airflow. So when the inside of the trailer is 100 degrees and you've got a closed space where the converter is not getting a lot of air, then yeah, they do get overheated. So I've never had it happen during a show because I'm able to actually run the air conditioner, and then the temperature stays very comfortable here in the trailer, not just for me but for the equipment as well. So anyway, so yeah, that's it's only been an issue when temperature has been a problem. Even if the air conditioner wasn't running, I can always open up the doors and get some airflow that way. We just can't do it for the videos we shoot here in the trailer because we need quiet. You know, these microphones pick up everything, so we can't run the air conditioner while we're shooting. So yeah, that's not a normal condition for any of the jobs that we actually do. So. All right, let's see how many people are actually watching at the moment. So, 33, not too bad for this channel. So, how many of you guys are actually watching Stream Team episodes? And I guess the follow-up question is, do you find them useful? We're focusing a lot more on basics than the other content here on the channel. So, we're hoping that those actually prove useful for people, and hopefully attract more viewers to the channel too. So. Yeah. Any more questions? So, so I only mentioned upcoming Stream Team episodes. I actually have a couple other episodes, a couple other videos already shot for my more traditional content here on the channel as well. One of those I'm probably gonna drop it tonight. We'll see. That one I'm giving away some free software. So over the course of many years of doing software development, I've created a bunch of utilities for myself, and decided to make those a lot of those available for people who watch the channel. So I have a video coming out. I'll probably do it tonight, most likely. So that's coming out, and then one of the most popular requested videos here for the channel has been my cellular connectivity, and so I'm actually in the process of collecting the data on that one. Haven't shot it yet, but I'm going to do a video on the cellular connectivity that I use here in the trailer, the MoFi network device that I have, and then do some comparisons to some other alternative solutions, such as like a hotspot from a carrier, tethering to a cell phone, those kinds of things. So, and so far, spoiler alert, the results have totally justified my purchase in the MoFi device. So, but so anyway, all right. Ryan says watch a couple of the Stream Team episodes. It makes you more structured and move faster. We're trying, but people who are not familiar with this content kind of need a slow, or not familiar with this field, this discipline, kind of need things to move slowly. So the pace is being set based on Wit's understanding as she's learning this stuff, because the live streaming is new to her, and so she actually is really learning this stuff on camera. She's not acting, and if I can tell that she's not picking up on a concept super fast, then I'll let it sink in a little longer. And I suspect that most of the people watching are going to be exactly like that and be exactly the same. So, but it is a course that's designed more for people who've never done it before. So. That said, I try and drop little tidbits here and there that are useful to everybody. So even if you've been in the field for a while, there's content there for you too. So let's see. Plan on using the stream team to help train some of your crew. Awesome. All right. It's awesome guy saying, yay, free software, open source. No, unfortunately it can't be. Most of those things are... The reason they even exist in the first place is I already had library code written to do most of the things that they do. So really, the application itself is just a user interface, a front end to library code that I'd written years and years and years ago, like in some cases as much as 25 years ago. And I have contracts in place with former clients that would make it difficult to impossible to open source that stuff. There are some proprietary things in there that I can't let out. So I'd be happy to answer questions on how I did things, though. So if somebody was curious, I'd be happy to look up in the code and provide little snippets. So. Kita, you may consider a condenser headset so you can run the air conditioner in the background. So this actually is condenser. The big problem is the pickup pattern. It's not so much that it's condenser versus dynamic. So almost all of these style of microphones, I mean there are some exceptions, but almost all of these are omnidirectional. So they pick up sound from every direction equally, including this one. And so all the ones that I have, this style, are omnidirectional. And so yeah, they pick up everything. I could get cardioid. They do exist. Although it's a lot of money to drop, especially if I have to do 2 of them for both me and Wit. And even then, you guys have seen, if you've watched the channel for a long time, you've seen videos where I did actually run the air conditioner during a video using a very directional, like extremely directional dynamic microphone. And you can still totally hear the air conditioner in the background. It's kind of distracting. So we just do that to avoid the distraction of the air conditioner in the background. Yeah, so some of the free software, I'm not really going to tell you what it is, but it's a considerable number of pieces of software there. Most of it's utility type, like for example, there's some networking stuff, there's some stuff for manipulating colors. There's a calculator. My style of calculator is totally different than everybody else's. What else? Yeah, a bunch of different random things. Most of the stuff that I wrote for myself, and these are the ones that I took enough time to polish to make me feel comfortable enough to share them with other people. So yeah, not getting a whole lot of questions here today, so we could actually wrap up a little bit early, but I'll let it go for another little while. So again, I'll ask my question I asked earlier. So if we were to do merchandise for the channel, like Stream Team t-shirts, would that be something you guys would be interested in? The other thing that we're considering is like just kind of generic video production gear. So I've got a shirt that I wear when I'm working for other people. All it says is video crew, and it has a camera on it. That has no branding for me whatsoever. So we can consider doing something like that, making something like that available. So yeah, we're trying to look for ways to monetize the channel a little bit. So as I've mentioned many times in the past, recently anyway. It gets expensive to produce this content, especially now that I'm paying Wit to do all the editing on these things. And right now, we're still very much upside down, so it's actually costing me money to run the channel at the moment. So trying to figure out ways to solve that. So we're trying to grow the viewership to just get more eyeballs on the content, which will bring in a little more revenue. But we're looking at other opportunities as well. So another thing we're considering with the stream team is making episodes available for a limited time and then have them only be available via paywall after some period of time. So no options are off the table. We're just trying to figure out how to make this thing work. So okay, check to see if you can add the Teespring integration to your channel layout. I'll look into them. We haven't pursued finding a vendor for merchandise, but awesome guy. Advanced courses, yeah, that's certainly a possibility. It's a lot of work to produce that stuff, especially, I mean, if you're going to justify charging for it, it has to be pretty well done, which means a huge time investment, and we don't know if the market is there. So hey, all right, thanks Fleming, thanks for the super chat there, appreciate it. So so Teespring, yeah, no costs and the quality of the products are high. Sell a couple hundred a month in swag. Yeah, that'd be cool. No promotion, no effort. So it's something we'd consider, but we have to find the right product that people would actually be interested in buying. Like I say, I don't think anybody would care about DJP merchandise, but maybe I think the stream team is more fun, and especially when I've got Wit involved. You know, there's two of us. It's a more lighthearted, it's just more fun. You know, I would think that kind of merchandise would do a little better, but maybe we could do just some generic stuff. So we're working at some options. So Eric's saying the Patreon is a good idea. Just keep it going. So Patreon, it's a good idea in concept. It hasn't worked that well on this channel. I certainly could have done a better job to try and steer people that direction. But if you were to go to the Patreon site for DJP, there's more revenue coming, and there's not as much revenue coming in as it appears. Like, I think right now it's like 150 a month. 100 of that is from one client who's paying me for consultation. So the monthly contributions are actually not that high on Patreon. So yeah, I mean, again, could probably do more, but even combined revenue between YouTube and Patreon still doesn't even come close to covering the editing labor. So, Gort, do you include music program audio into the intercom system? Yes, I do, actually. So I have a video here on the channel where I talk about the intercom system and how it works. I'm actually using a real audio mixer in order to do the mixing, and that allows me to basically create a mix, whatever mix I want. And I have a different mix for inside the trailer versus people that are outside the trailer, the camera operators and whatnot. Here inside the trailer, we absolutely always do include program audio in the headsets. For camera operators, it depends on the event, and I kind of actually ask them whether they want to hear it or not. So there's been events where I've had it turned on and other events where I turn it off. So it just kind of depends. There's essentially next to no latency on that, so it's not necessarily distracting to have it on, but at the same time it could possibly interfere with somebody's ability to really hear the intercom dialogue. The program audio level is always kept really low, so anytime I do speak up, it should be clear. But any sort of background noise it can possibly be a problem. So, all right, some simple production designs would be interesting. Yeah, just got to find somebody to help with the artwork on that. So, Paul, you've met here on the channel. He's actually pretty good about that kind of stuff. So maybe I'll talk to Paul and see. So, all right. Push the Patreon, more exclusives. Yeah, we could certainly do more with the Patreon. The problem with more exclusives is it takes time to shoot and edit those things. I think I've mentioned before that every video we do here on the channel takes about 6 hours of work in order to publish it. So if we're producing yet another video for Patreon, that's another 6 hours of work, another 6 hours that I've got to pay Wit for. So yeah, it would be tough. It'd be tough to justify that. So you can also add YouTube member subscriptions. YouTube member subscriptions are only available for channels with, I think it's over 1 million subscribers. So we're well way away from that. So unfortunately, the YouTube member stuff is not an option for us. So Nick saying, my camera ops hate having the program audio. A little bit of delay from the main PA drives them crazy. Yeah, I could see that, and that's one of the reasons that sometimes it has been distracting for camera operators. And fortunately, I could delay it if I wanted to, and I can also control the mix level independently for the camera operators versus me. So me here in the directing from the trailer, I need to be able to hear everything that's going on in program. So okay, Ryan says 100,000. Okay, yeah, 100,000 subscribers. Again, that's way more than we've got here. So, have you ever used the Leon wireless comms headset? They are a concurrent competitor to Clearcom, and we're looking into it for theater. I have not. I haven't used a whole lot of the more modern intercom systems that are out there. So my experience with intercom is Clearcom and RTS years ago. More recently, I've got my proprietary intercom system I have here in the trailer, which works great. So I have like zero incentive to try and to find a replacement. And then when I've worked on other productions, I've been on productions where we use wireless RTS, EarTech, some variant on Clearcom. It wasn't actually Clearcom branded. Those are kind of the big ones that I've used in the past. I prefer my own solution. It sounds way better than the others, and again, so I don't have a lot of incentive to go search out for and seek out other ones. Mine's based on Blackmagic design fiber systems, and because they have AES audio input on the back of their studio converter, I'm able to inject whatever audio I want. If I was forced to use the analog inputs on those devices, it wouldn't sound very good. It doesn't sound very good. And then it's very quiet. But because I can inject my own audio, I can make it sound however I want, which means I can create a perfect mix, like compression, equalization, whatever, in order to make a great sounding mix. And again, I have a channel. I have a video here on the channel that covers all of that. And everybody who uses my intercom is like, "Wow, that sounds awesome! It sounds so much better than every other intercom I've ever used." So, all right. Okay, so Ryan say 30,000 minimum for the member thing on YouTube. So I suppose maybe someday we'll get there. But we're at 9,150-ish today. So it's going to be a while. And again, this is pretty specialty content, so I don't know that my subscriber base is ever going to be huge on this channel, no matter what. So Studio Tech is the future. So I'm not sure what you were referring to there, but Studio Tech is a cool company. They do some cool products. At some point, I will probably pick up one of their announcer systems. So yeah. What do you think is more important? Small H.265 encoding, file sizes but slow editing and rendering, or large H.264 formats with fast editing and rendering? Well, it depends on entirely on your workflow. If you need fast turnaround, then H.264 is going to be a little bit easier to deal with. Although with that said, the latest Adobe updates for Premiere Pro that you can use your GPU for rendering, the rendering time on 265 is not really that much longer than 264, and it's actually less than 264 has ever been in the past. So, yeah, and in fact, the computer, and you can see behind me, it actually renders 265 faster in some cases than 264. So, but the big problem with 265 is not everybody can play it. You have to have a fairly modern computer or tablet or phone for it to be supported. So, yeah, I mean, if you're doing your own distribution and you're not going through something like YouTube to distribute your videos, then 265 could be potentially problematic. But yeah, 265 is awesome when you can use it, and if you need to do HDR, it's really essentially your only option. So, all right, live streams are the best. Maybe do more of those, less editing. We have been. I don't know if you've noticed, but we did. So I'm doing this one now. We did one last Thursday, just under a week ago. And then I did one 4 days before that. So in the last 2 weeks, we've had 3 live streams. And with the stream team, we are going to be doing. The plan is to do a live Q&A, every 4th episode. So subject to change based on reception and interest. But that's kind of the plan right now. It's like every 4th episode actually be a Q&A on there. So. The downside to the live streams is they're not focused on a single topic, so the rewatch value is low. They don't attract as many views as a lot of the other videos here on the channel. So there's some issues with them. I mean, there's certainly way easier for me to do. I just sit down and read the screen and answer the questions. No research time required. No editing after the fact. So yeah, plenty easy. But yeah, we want to have a good variety of introductory videos as part of the Stream Team series, and then I will do more of my technical dives in my more traditional videos. So again, kind of like this one where I talk about new products like the 12G Cross. So you're gonna see. So even though there's a lot of focus on the Stream Team series, you're gonna see more videos of my more traditional style too, because I'm not editing those anymore, so I can actually knock out a lot more of them. So in the past, maybe doing one a week. I mean, that was kind of always the schedule that I wanted to do, but we released 3 last week. There's going to be at least 2 this week, so there's 5 videos in 2 weeks. My more traditional content. We're not far off from the pace of doing a video a day at this point. So, alrighty. I bought a Video Pro 2.5 years ago. Sometimes after a few hours, it says no video. Have you encountered something like that? Could it be temperature? It's possible that it could be temperature. I haven't had that particular problem. The one issue I've noticed with all of my Teradeks actually is they sometimes don't detect video when they're first powered on, and I might have to disconnect the video and insert it once, maybe twice before it comes on. But then once it comes on, it's never had a problem with it ever dropping. So you might consider looking at the way you're doing the HDMI conversion for that. So maybe go through a different converter and see if that actually helps. So Ryan, what wireless USB mouse do you use and recommend? I like this guy. It's a Logitech. I forget the model number. See if it's written on here somewhere. It's not. Unfortunately, I don't know what the model number on this guy is, but I really like this one. It can be either wireless USB or Bluetooth, and it actually supports 3 devices. So hit there's a little button there on the side I can use to cycle between the different devices. I've currently got this program for 2 computers. Could add a third. I've only got the setup for the 2 at the moment. But anyway, so yeah, so it's a Logitech. I wish I could tell you the model number, but if you go and look for this one on their website, it's still a current model. So, all right. What other questions we got here? So, very interested in how the crew access software in a user case. So, it's basically, are you wanting me to go through how it would actually be used? I mean, I've considered doing a half a day live stream covering a lot of the features of the site. I'm not sure that. I don't know how much interest there is for that. And if there's interest, I would be happy to do it. I'd love to walk people through the site. But it would take a half a day. Would actually be we would only be able to scratch the surface on most things. It wouldn't be a deep dive for sure. If you're looking for the feedback from existing users, I don't really have any organized. I don't have any way to organize that. I've never collected that information. The feedback I've gotten has all been positive. I have, for a long time, I never had any cancellation, but I have had 2 cancellations so far. First one, the company was shutting down. Second one, the company couldn't. They were cutting down on expenses. So it's like nobody's been dissatisfied with it. Everybody's used it, has loved it. And there's the free version of it you can try out for as long as you want. There are a lot of features that are not available in the free version. I'm not going to hide the fact that there are some premium stuff that's only available to paid subscribers, but you at least get a pretty good feel for what the site's like on the free version. So if something you're considering, just go sign up for the free one. So yeah, Logitech M720. Okay, yeah, that sounds right. So it's a great mouse. I've been really happy, not just with my Logitech, but my Microsoft mice as well. So I wouldn't hesitate to recommend mice from either manufacturer. The M720 is not the one I use with my laptop, though. I have a smaller one. Again, I can't remember the model number on it, but it's similar, just a smaller form factor, and it works with either Bluetooth or the wireless USB. Great mouse, great feel, works flawlessly. So, and amazing battery life on these things. They last for months and months on batteries. So, yeah. So, probably about time to start wrapping up here. But get your last couple of questions in. I'll take a couple more, and then we'll wrap things up. But yeah, so a lot more great content coming. We're shooting stuff faster than we're putting it out. I'll say that. So traditionally, when Wit's here and we're shooting, we shoot 2 episodes of Stream Team back to back. So that gives us a week worth of content at a time, and then my other videos, like last time I sat down and shoot one of those, I shot 3 in one afternoon. Not all of those have gone out. Like one of those is the free software one, which I will probably release today. I think Whit finished editing that one, so I can probably post that one. So, Rant asking if you have any experience with remote productions over IP. I don't. Main reason is we work on a contract basis, and so we're jumping from venue to venue, client to client, and each time someone's got to be physically present to set up the equipment. And if you're doing that, you might as well just stay on site in order to do the production as well. It wouldn't make sense to go set it up and then go home and do the production from there. So I personally haven't done that. I'm seeing a lot more of that. There's a lot of discussion of those kinds of productions online. There's a number of solutions that people are coming up with in order to remotely control their equipment. So yeah, there are ways of doing it. You could use like SRT to stream video to a remote location. You could always have a switcher on location, then use IP to control the switcher remotely. So a lot of solutions in order to try and make that work. So yeah. Okay, Kita, find it frustrating when getting audio advice related to assigning AES EBU channel, etc. Audio stores have no idea what AES EBU is used for. That's pretty common. People don't really know what that is. So it's not the most popular format out there for digital audio even. So yeah. Our Feathers asks what's been your favorite production to work on. We've got this series that we're doing 4th of July, big Independence Day here in the U.S. 4th of July celebration that we've done. Done 2 years so far, and we will be doing a very different version of it this year because of COVID-19. But that's been a tremendously fun production to work on. Last year was a little smaller than the first year, but the first year we actually had 11 cameras going, 2 drones, 3 cameras with operators on tripods, 2 PTZ, one camera on Steadicam, a couple of static cameras. I forget, but there was 11 cameras. That production was a lot of fun, not just because of the technical challenges of it, but also because we actually had some time to do some preparation. So I actually had time to create some graphics for it and to do some programming on my switcher with some custom macros and things like that. So the client was happy to provide the information and whatnot that I needed in order to actually do a better job, a better looking job than so many of the other events that I work on. Most of the other events that I do, like, there's been no thought paid to graphics or any sort of like media packages that we use within the course of the event. So, but that one we had some live video we played back. It was cool having drones flying around and getting cool footage with that. And I actually had a good sized crew in here. We had 5 people working the trailer, so I was technical directing, and then Paul was running the PTZ cameras. And then we had a lady sitting at this desk acting as the producer. And then we had a guy in the audio booth doing audio, and then another guy who was kind of floating. But that series of productions is probably the funnest that we've worked on. Just a lot of variety. I enjoy being able to do things that I haven't done as much of. Kind of broaden my horizons a little bit, solve some new technical challenges. That's really what drives me with all this stuff, like just learning new things. So, but that's been a fun series to do. If you wanted to see any of those videos, I think we've linked some of those on my website. So if you go to djprod.biz, there's a link at the top that says shot by DJP, and the series is called Follow the Flag. And I'm pretty sure we got links there. And if not, you can always go onto YouTube. And they have a ton of other videos on their channel, but the ones that we did are very clearly higher production value than their other stuff that's out there. So still not as high a budget as it'd be nice to have, and I'd love to be able to hire more crew and more experienced crew. But still, that was a fun series. So, all right. So, do you know, can multiple people manage a YouTube account for live streaming? Thinking of my church. If I set up a page for my account, can I let someone else help manage it? Yes. So they actually do have a feature called Manager. So you can invite someone else to be a manager. It's a lot easier if your account is set up as a brand account rather than a personal account, which is probably going to be what you want anyway. But once you've created the brand account, it's really easy to invite another person who has all they need is a Google account of some kind. You just invite them to be a manager on your account, and then they can create videos, basically edit any of the videos on the site. So yeah, I do that all the time with my clients. Like every time I'm doing a live stream for someone else, I have them add me as a manager to their channel. That way they don't have to muck with all the low-level details of creating the live stream ahead of time. So yeah. Okay, Paolo, what solution do you use for pre-recorded content on your live gigs? So most of the time I just play directly off the Adobe Premiere timeline. So that allows me to just drop a file on and hit the spacebar to go. It automatically handles format conversion. It's just easy. I've just found that to be the easiest solution out there. So I play off of a MacBook Pro, and you can't see it, but it's just off camera here. Play off a MacBook Pro connected to an Ultra Studio 4K, and so that video just goes out SDI directly into my switcher. That has worked great. I have never had any problems with that. That's been the easiest solution that I've found for doing media playback of anything. So that's kind of what I stick with. Casper CG is another solution that I've played with, but again, it's a lot of hassle to get it set up, especially when someone hands you a file format that is not the native format that you're shooting in. It's a pain to make that work. But again, with Premiere, I just set the properties for that particular sequence, and it does the conversion. So yeah, Premiere is the way that I actually handle that almost all the time. So, Gort, if I may ask, is there a reason why you don't use a T-bar for switching? Well, I just don't ever find situations where I need to stop halfway, and so just doing doing an auto it meets my needs. So, in the rare situations where I do need to, I have the ATEM software running on this touchscreen, which is to my left during a show, and then I can just use the on-screen T-bar there. But yeah, I just haven't found a really need for one. So. Ryan, I know in an earlier show you said behind the scenes is too challenging when you're in the midst of it, and I can relate, but it's one thing I would like to see. We get a lot of requests for that. There's a lot of interest for that. A lot of people have asked for that. There's two challenges. Like, one is shooting it, because normally all my hired crew is focused on getting the equipment set up and tested, and then running the equipment during the event. But also is a lot of the clients that I work with just don't want their content to be used in that kind of way. Like I've got a big event that I'm shooting in a week, and it would be awesome to do behind the scenes on it. This is a huge event. We're live streaming to Asia. We're doing multiple language translations. But the client would never, ever, ever allow cameras to show what's going on behind the scenes with that one. And we run into that a lot. A lot of the overwhelming majority of the streams that we do are for companies who are talking about proprietary stuff that they don't want out there. And so, yeah, between the two, we just haven't really ever gotten around to doing a proper behind the scenes. So we've had offers for people to come in and shoot behind the scenes for us. We just haven't had the right event to do it. So a couple years ago, when we were doing Reel Sessions, REEL, I shot a handful of behind-the-scenes stuff, and there's a couple of live streams up here on the channel of the event actually taking place. And between the different artists that were coming in to perform, I would very often switch to a wide shot in the recording studio or something like that. So there's a little bit on here, but nothing that's really been formally put together. So I would really love to do it. I know there's a ton of interest, and they just haven't been able to make it work. So. All right, let's see. Any experience with copyrighted material and live streaming? Unfortunately, it happens all the time, actually. No matter how much I warn the people that I'm working with that you shouldn't be playing any copyrighted material as part of a live stream, it happens all the time. The biggest offender is music. And people, they've got some song that they want to include as part of their presentation, and so it goes live. And then, fortunately, for the most part, YouTube has been pretty okay about it. I don't think we've ever gotten I don't think any of my clients have ever gotten a copyright strike. The content is almost always identified, and the most frustrating thing is that at that point the video you have to share in the revenues, or you can't monetize at all. But yeah, you really got to warn your clients ahead of time. Say, don't use any copyrighted music as part of your stream. Inevitably, it happens a lot. Like even like music before an event or after an event or whatever. You know, someone wants the music while the crowd's coming in or leaving or whatever. Even if that's not technically live on the stream, it gets picked up by a microphone and gets flagged, so it can be a real problem. So yeah, I've got big warnings on my client agreement on my website about that, but I think the biggest thing is people just don't understand. They don't understand what the rules are. So yeah, you have to work with them and explain it. So anyway, do you use a software switcher and encoder or a hardware switcher and encoder? So I use both a hardware switcher and a hardware encoder. I find that hardware gives you the lowest latency, the best reliability. That's kind of the best way to summarize that. And so the software switchers can certainly work. There's more challenges associated with them. So yeah, I personally prefer the hardware based. So, Ryan, I just started using holographics, and it's an interesting new option. It supports video playback, graphics overlays, and has key fill integration with the Ultra Studio to ATM. I'll have to take a look at that. That actually sounds very cool. So yeah. Kita, technical directing is very fun. I've done it for 10 plus conventions. My background in animation and cinematography helps a lot, and talking to camera operators to get that perfect shot. Yeah, that certainly does help a lot. If you're able to just visually know what a good shot is, and then can be able to communicate that to camera operators, that can go a long way. I'm not necessarily the best at that, and so I hire camera operators, tend to hire camera operators who are good at that themselves. And also, with at least for my first 3 main cameras, I let them see each other's feeds. So I do a 2x2 grid on their program monitors, which shows the first 3 cameras plus program, and that way they can know what everybody else is getting and then frame a different shot. And yeah, so the 3 main people that I use on my productions, you've met all 3 of them on channel here at some point, Dave, Paul, and then Whit, and all 3 of them are pretty good about framing a cool shot and making sure that they're getting something different from everybody else. So me not being a cinematographer type, I'm a little more challenged at coming up with a good shot. I can get a usable shot, but I might not necessarily be creative or as interesting as it could be. So, all right. What was your beginning in streaming? How did you interest in streaming? Oh, hey, Paul. So mostly just got involved in streaming because that's what clients were asking for. However, I take that my experience with streaming actually goes way back, well before that. So back in the year 2000, so 20 years ago, I was doing some contract software work for internet startup, and they were doing some giveaways on some products, and they wanted to live stream those. And they knew that I had experience with video, and so they actually hired me to handle the live streaming. So that was a rather interesting thing, because we didn't really have cellular data at that point. So I had to come up with a unique solution in order to relay the video. So we actually go to the house of the person who had won the prize and present it to them, and we do it live. So that was interesting, coming up with equipment, sticking it in the back of my Jeep. We had an antenna. The area where I live is pretty mountainous, so we were able to do a relay station up on the side of the mountain. But point an antenna from the Jeep up to the mountain, and then relay that down to a ground station to get the stream out from there. So that was my earliest experience with it. And then the next big thing that I did, in 2007, I taught a photography class and live streamed it. And this was before YouTube did live streaming. This is before a lot of these live streaming services existed, practically before all of them existed. So if you wanted to live stream, you were running your own server. But I did, and I had decent viewership on that. But so anyway, it goes back a long time. So yeah, Paul, Y2K. Yeah, it was during Y2K. We were doing that live stream. So anyway, a couple minutes will be coming up on an hour here, so start wrapping things up. But let's get the last couple questions in, then we can go. But thanks everybody for joining and participating. So if you missed it, the unboxing was this Decimator Design 12G Cross. So if you're not familiar with it, it's a video format converter. This version takes anything up to 4K at 60 frames per second, converts it to any other format up to 4K at 60 frames per second. SDI inputs and outputs, HDMI inputs and outputs. Just a fantastic product that everybody should have in their arsenal. If you're not shooting 4K, you can get the MDHX, which is the 1080p version of this. Great product. Everybody should have at least a couple of them. So yeah. Well, I guess I'll start wrapping things up here. So anyway, if you're in video production, well, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and also be sure and go take a look at the Crew Axis website that I created. That's CREWAXIS.com. It's, again, a site I created for myself, and I've just made it, over time I've enhanced it, and I've made it available to other people as well. You can actually sign up for it for your own. There are free accounts. You can play with it for as long as you want, and then there are subscription plans that give you more features and things like that. So yeah, so also appreciate any time you guys share these videos with other people. Also be sure and like. That helps YouTube know that, hey, actually I enjoyed this video, and so I'll recommend it to other people. And I'm sure I've made this fairly clear recently, but we're really trying to aggressively grow the channel now. In the past, it's just been kind of a little bit of a side hobby for me, but with Whit working on videos, this is kind of one of her jobs now, and so yeah, we're really trying to make this thing successful. So anything you can do to help grow the channel as well, that would be very much appreciated. So anyway, that's about it for now. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.